Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of You'll Never Talk Alone. I'm your stand-in host, Alex Level, joined today by Andrew and Will. Fellas, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
He's wonderful.
Well, that's all we care about, that Andrew is doing wonderfully. And you know who else is doing wonderfully? The table-topping Reds, as we overcame Brighton and Hove Albion away from home 1-0 with the penalty from Mo Salah. Now that we're back to being Penaltypool, that's the only way we're going to score from now on. So let's just jump right into it. Andrew, what did you think of this game? Was it enjoyable?
I mean, it was enjoyable just because, it's two teams that are in the Premier League. But other than that, it was just kind of boring. Not a whole lot. We had some good chances. We won. That's all that really matters. But in the end, it wasn't a super exciting match of football.
I tend to agree with that. And it's another instance of us playing more contained and grinding out a victory like we've done so often this season. And Will, I know you didn't get to see as much of the match as you would have liked, but do you think that this is the way we're going to play for the rest of the year? Or do you think this was just out of necessity because of how Brighton was playing? Or are we trying to be more contained? Like, you think back to when Leicester won the league, I think every game in the second half of the season was 1-0 victory. So is that what we're going to end up seeing?
Listen, we can play like this and win 1-0 all we want to, as long as we don't get the early kickoff, because I don't think I can stay awake if we played like this with the early kickoff. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because, like, I'm always an advocate for a functional win. 1-0, off a penalty. I'll take them all season. But it's just, you'd obviously like to win 5-1, as we have against some teams this year. I don't know, it wasn't flashy, but it got the job done. I never really felt like we got out of third gear. And I don't really have much analysis for the game. I did watch a good portion of it, but not like, there wasn't enough. We didn't come away with enough to really be like, oh, okay, yeah, look at X, Y, and Z. This is cool. This new player played. Like, oh, no, it's just, we won 1-0 at Brighton. Go for it all day.
And they hadn't been shut out at home since early last year. So people kind of talking bad about the performance, even if it wasn't as entertaining, it was still a very difficult thing to do. And while it wasn't fun and we never really looked like scoring that often, they never, ever looked like scoring. So that was definitely uplifting and nice to see. Like, you kind of always knew that we were going to win. You couldn't really see how. And then we got another penalty because it's our MO now. That's how we score.
Our Mo.
Exactly.
Did you mean to do that?
I'm going to say that I did. But I'm going to let you determine that for yourself.
That was bad. No, so I would like to say, before you even ask the question, yes, I was disappointed that Sadio Mane did not score for the 500th time this season.
Yeah, I was going to start off with you. What's going on with him? Is it all New Balance's fault?
Man, he's my boy. I love Mane. I think when he's on, he's one of the best players in the world. Unfortunately, he's only on about 1 in every 5 games right now. I don't know if he needs to be benched. I don't really like Firmino on the left. I don't see Mo playing out there, and Shaqiri does better cutting inside on his left foot. So I don't really see him getting benched right now necessarily, but with his substitution, I believe kind of later on in the second half, I think he needs a break. He needs a rest. He needs something. I don't know. The vacation.
Andrew, we've seen Naby play on the left a little bit. Do you think it's a pal for pal substitution that we need, or something else? Do we change shape? What do we do? How do we get Mane playing better?
I mean, I think Mane will come around. I think that's how he's always played. That was what everyone was worried about before he came to Liverpool. He's cyclical. He'll play. He'll have just a drought for a little while, and then he'll come back around and he'll be the best player on our team for some games. But I don't think there's anything we really need to change. It's happened multiple times during his stay at Liverpool. So I think it was just a long stretch of games. We played really well in almost all of them. And, I think we've got 4 games in the next 5 weeks. So he's got some time to rest.
Yeah, hopefully so. I think, I would say that we need him to be firing in order to, maintain our form. We kind of don't. I mean, we've been all right. I do wish that he would get back on it because I love when he plays well. The team seems to play a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
As we talk about him though, I'm real fancy and have 2 monitors, and I'm watching the highlights on the other monitor, and they just showed like 5 highlights in a row where they were just Mane highlights, like with his pass, his touch, his little dink or trick or spin or whatever. He's doing good stuff off the ball. I just wish he would score a little bit more because he's the one that finds himself in the box that and doesn't end up doing anything. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, but he's my man.
Yeah, he did like 80% of the right thing this match. He would create space for himself and then look for the pass and then just completely mishit it and it would go right to the other team. Or he would beat a man and then try to shoot and just would miss the ball or something. Whatever he tried, it would work almost. And he was so close to having an amazing match, but it ended up looking really bad. And he can turn it around. I mean, we've seen it, but he also has a habit of scoring really big goals when he's playing badly. You remember last year when he scored at Burnley in that comeback victory, he had been pretty awful for the games leading up to that. And even the City match when he scored when we won 4-3, he had been pretty bad leading up to that. So he finds a way to somehow score left-footed worldies when he's playing really badly. So fully expect to see that against Palace. But moving from someone who did not play very well, Andrew, did any players stand out in particular to you as being exceptional against Brighton, even though the match itself was not?
Is anyone exceptional? Fabinho at center back, I guess you've got to give it to him. Just because he's someone that's slotted in and been able to take over. It's like having a new signing. So
there's only one man that record belongs to.
It's like having a new signing at center back, which is nice. I think you got to give it to him. Mo had some good chances. He couldn't finish, but he looked really good. He was all over the field. So I think in other games we'll put it together as long as the grass isn't too tall or wet.
As long as Pep is not the groundskeeper at the rest of the grounds where we play for the rest of the season, we'll be okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I agree. Fabinho played well, and Will, I know we talked about this in our pre-production meeting / text thread. Does Fabinho's performance mean he has moved up in the pecking order in terms of backup center backs when Joe Gomez / everyone else that plays that position is hurt?
I think the common sense answer is yes to that question, but the Jurgen Klopp answer, I believe, will be no. I think as soon as Matip or Lovren are fully fit, we'll see them slot back in for sure. This is an injury necessity and not a long-term project, I don't believe.
Yeah, definitely tend to agree with that. I mean, he played really well, and you're absolutely right. I know I would prefer him if there was no Gomez for him to drop back, but what he brings in the midfield was definitely missed, and want him to keep pushing forward when he is able to. because we need it. There were some instances where we could have used his style of passing, and now hopefully we can rub some horse placenta cream on Joe Gomez or on somebody and heal him up. Because these injuries, I mean, we're not Real Madrid level, missing like 7 people, or who was it? Someone this weekend was missing like 11 players. So that wasn't us, thankfully, but we do need to get some
It
people.
feels like us.
Yeah.
It feels like it. I will say also shout out to my boy Jordan Henderson for stinking up the first half, but completely turning it around the second half. He was actually really good the second half. The first half was pretty miserable though, but a good recovery performance from him.
The first half, he was showing that he loves Brighton as much as the 2 podcasters that are absent in Zack and Joseph, because he was just giving him the ball at every opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess at halftime, somebody explained to him, no, we're not the blue and white striped
Pass
team.
to the red guy. I don't know. Did you see, and this may be on your notes to talk about, but poor Trent, poor Trent got Van Dijk mad at him. And, that was hilarious.
Yeah, it just not a good day for Trent. I mean, he played well, but he hurt himself in the warm up, and then got yelled at by his new dad.
His dad.
Yeah.
Today I was looking at like the Instagram following page, and it's got like 25 pictures that you can look at, and like 6 of them were a video of Van Dijk yelling at Trent.
It was terrifying.
Trent. Arms up in the air.
Yeah, to wait, like windmilling his arms. It was like I watched it in real time and just laughed my butt off.
Yeah.
Because that, like, I mean, poor Trent just can't hear him. Like, it's not like he's ignoring him probably, but when they got back to the locker room that Van Dijk was just ripped him a new one.
Yeah.
Like, he's terrifying, even to his own teammates.
And he's got a future as a third base coach if he needs it. Because like you said, he was windmilling his arm. I was like, go home, Trent. Slide head first.
Mm-hmm.
That was delightful. That made struggling through that entire match worth it for the Walls.
Mm-hmm.
And, looking ahead to this weekend, it's probably going to be a similar story, although it's at home against Crystal Palace. I mean, they've been struggling. They're still not out of the relegation fight. They've got Will's former love, Zaha, back and fit and playing, but they're not very good at playing soccer. So, Will, what are you expecting out of this match?
I hate playing Palace so much because, like, if there's one team even now that can beat us, it's Palace. Like, you don't really even pick City against us, even though they did just beat us, whatever. But like, I feel better about playing City than I do Palace, honestly. And it mostly stems from that game in 13-14.
Yeah.
But it just is. I hate playing them. They play rugby more than they play soccer, football, whatever. Wilfred Zaha will probably dribble around a little bit and do largely nothing against Van Dijk. It'll be fun to watch though if he gets next to Trent and does some cool stuff maybe. But I just see it being maybe somehow less interesting than the Brighton game.
Yeah, totally agree. And as Andrew has just reminded us before I asked him his opinion, we need to do a quick Crest exam. I can't remember if we've done it before, but considering their arrival of, as we mentioned before, Zack and Joseph's beloved Brighton, why don't we take a look? So how do y'all feel about the Palace Crest? I mean, it's a bird and a ball worth 2 in the bush.
You're full of it tonight.
I'm full of something. It actually doesn't have a ball. He's over the...
No, it does have a ball.
A little ball.
I don't know if it's like holding up a castle
or like a bridge.
It's the London Bridge, isn't it? Or something. Some kind of bridge. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think it's just
an old one where it's like an even more badass eagle and it's holding a soccer ball.
Yeah, I saw that too.
instead of like an old school looking soccer ball. Garbage one, but it's got an eagle on it, and that's pretty cool. And they have an eagle that flies around, and that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, for sure.
And they
yeah, I
have
like the
cheerleaders.
consistency.
Yeah,
That's
they do.
true.
I forget that they have the cheerleaders. Yes.
Yeah. See, they're like if like McDonald's owned a Premier League club, and I love that. I hate playing them, but I love like their whole just American
Vibe.
football marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, how do y'all feel about the crest? I mean, as a club, they are pretty funny. But crest-wise,
I think it's a cool crest. It's got an eagle on it.
It is. It's a good like modern crest. The eagle looks nice. I've got geographical representation with the bridge or whatever that it's supposed to be, I guess. And
it's got a date on there.
Yeah, it does have a date. Is always nice. I give it, 10 birds out of 10. It's a solid modern crest.
Yeah, I call it a 9. But
okay.
Yeah, that's still a high number.
I give it a meh. I think it is. They had some better ones in the olden days, but maybe because of our history against them, I just can't review anything they've done positively except for the cheerleaders, except for like all the hilarious stuff. And they do have, I will say, the atmosphere at Selhurst Park does sound pretty intimidating, but they also, of all the teams that we play, and you can hear the chants, they have the most chants that they do that are from like the MLS fan starter pack, where there's just like the 8 chants that they all have, and they just change the name. It's all the same stuff though, so that always makes me laugh a little bit. Like, it feels like I'm at an FC Dallas game.
It's because of the cheerleaders,
right? Yeah. So overall,
and the eagle that flies around.
Let us not forget.
And I think it might be obligatory for teams that have an eagle on the crest to have an eagle fly around, because I know Lazio does that, and Benfica does that. And listeners, if you know of any other eagle-themed teams, please let us know, and let us know if they have an eagle fly around their stadium.
Does Philadelphia do that?
I'm sure.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, they do. There was a viral picture that went around.
Didn't it attack somebody?
I don't know. It just landed on someone. Yeah, the Crystal Palace is also Rebecca Lowe's favorite team.
I did know that.
So it's pretty important.
Well, then we must also appreciate Crystal Palace if the Queen does.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's her one flaw, that she supports them, and that
do you think
she gave her son little Crystal Palace kid? That was the chance to change it all. She could have given her son a better team to support.
I mean, really, as long as it's not United or City, like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, or Split.
Or Spurs. Oh, yeah, Split too.
Yep. But I guess getting back to the conversation, that was a great segue on my part, by the way. So,
yep.
Yeah, I'm here for the jokes, not for the segues. And we've talked about this in the past, that when Liverpool play against a backup keeper, he always turns in an amazing performance. And recently, Wayne Hennessy was relegated to the role of backup keeper. Had some interesting hand gestures going on a Max Meyer Instagram story. Was benched, but then their starting keeper got injured, and he left the game against Watford, and Hennessy came on, and they immediately conceded. But as we know, backup keepers and crack keepers play incredibly against us. So, Andrew, do you think this is going to be another game where we have to keep grinding and grinding because the keeper's making incredible saves, or we just can't get into the box because there's so many people in the way? And if so, does that change the lineup in terms of form?
I really want to say no. We're not going to have to grind it out, but everything that's inside of me says yes. So yeah, we're gonna grind it out. We're gonna play probably the same, if any different. Maybe change out one midfielder. I'm hoping to go up early, like 2-0, but it's gonna be a grind. I don't think we're gonna score, 3 goals in like the first 25 minutes and then just cruise.
A 2-goal lead in the first 20 minutes would be incredible. I would love for the last 60 minutes or so of this match to just be useless because we've tied it up in the first 30 minutes. That would be the dream scenario. But you're probably right. I don't think it's going to happen that way. And I think I saw it put on Twitter maybe where someone said Crystal Palace is the team that always looks like they're going to beat the big teams and never do, or never does. But they did beat City, so I feel like we owe them a little bit.
How old? Wayne Hennessy cannot be 31 years old. I just Googled him. Like, I feel like dude has been around forever. Forever. I thought he was like 40.
He looks like he's 40 a little bit. Like, he looks like he's been through some stuff.
He has seen some junk. I don't know. I agree. I feel like we're gonna grind it out, like another 1-0 on a penalty because freaking Benteke or somebody's gonna run over Mo in the box on a corner kick or something. Something like that. I don't know. It's I just hate playing Palace so much. I'm really scared of not really of Palace, but just like I just don't like Palace. Like I like Palace if we're not playing them. They're fun to watch. Like Zaha's cool. Townsend scores wonder goals once every 100 years. It's great, but like I just want no part of this game.
You're scared of the idea of Palace.
Yeah, like I'm afraid they're gonna just grab a 1-0 win at the death or something like that. They're that team, They're last year's Burnley. Like I felt the same way about Burnley last season.
Yeah. Is 1-0 your official score prediction?
No, I think it'll be 2-0 us, but I am scared of the 1-0 Palace scoreline.
Andrew, are you feeling as confident?
I'm gonna go. Are we playing at Selhurst?
That's at Anfield.
At Anfield.
Oh, okay, that makes me feel better. I'm gonna go 2-1 because they're gonna get a penalty.
But we're the only team that gets penalties now because we're a bunch of divers.
I don't think you understand. It's Crystal Palace. Zaha gets the most penalties.
That's true. There was a time, and I think it's still true, where he won more penalties by himself than our front three, Chelsea's front three, every player on City except for Sterling, and like all of United combined. It was ridiculous. He's just a penalty factory.
He is. Which is why we need him on our team.
But we're getting penalties now. We don't. His value is gone.
That's true, I guess.
But I'm confident. I think it'll be 3-0. I think Sacco scores 2 own goals because he'll forget which team he plays for. Like muscle memory will kick in, and he'll remember that night against Dortmund and score a diving header into his own goal and then do it again. Kind of like Fulham did against Burnley, where they scored 2 own goals in a minute, which was incredible, really. But yeah, I think we'll see this out, especially at home, because it was tough when we played them away, but we'll have the crowd behind us, and the crowd isn't as they don't seem as obsessed and fervent. We seem like we're more enjoying the ride of being top than keeping pressure on to get it done. So I think that will play into our favor.
I agree.
Listener, what do you think? You tweet at us at YNTA Podcast on Twitter. Visit ynta.podbean.com. Leave a comment on this episode or on one of the articles and let us know what you think about anything, really. We're here. We're here to listen. We're like Lucy and in Peanuts, where the doctor is in. So yeah. Anything else, guys? I'm really crushing it this week.
No, I feel good about it. It's a short pod. I mean, it's a boring game right before another boring game. I feel good about it.
I just want to tell the listeners to just make sure to go out and support your local soccer clubs.
Speaking of local soccer clubs, yeah, I believe you had an initiative to go watch some of them at the Y. So, Andrew, do you want to give an update on your grassroots movement? It's been a while since we've talked about it.
Oh, I've been going a lot, and it's really good. It's really good.
That's really unsettling.
It's great. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna.
Is that it?
That's that.
Oh, I think there's no better place that we could possibly imagine to end it. So we'll end it there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for everything. We will talk to you after this victory over Crystal Palace and what promises to be another routine week in the Premier League.